craniums, Neanderthal heads were built like protective helmets, thick, reinforced, and designed for impact. That pronounced brow ridge wasn't just decoration. It served as a shock absorber and anchor point for jaw muscles powerful enough to crunch through bones that would challenge modern industrial equipment. The sheer thickness of their skull walls, often double that of modern humans, formed a biological armor. In a headbutting match, your skull wouldn't just lose, it'd shatter like an eggshell. Neanderthals possessed deep, barrel-like rib cages that functioned like high-performance engine chambers. This expansive thoracic space housed lungs capable of processing massive amounts of oxygen, crucial for delivering the explosive burst of energy needed when wrestling a woolly mammoth to the ground or engaging in life-or-death combat with cave bears. Their lung capacity was estimated to be 15 to 20% larger than ours. When you're chasing down prey across frozen tundra or engaged in brutal hand-to-hand combat with predators, every extra breath matters. While modern humans developed long, graceful limbs optimized for endurance and efficiency, Neanderthals went in the complete opposite direction. Their arms and legs were shorter, stockier, and packed with muscle mass on a scale rarely seen in any human lineage. Think of the difference between a marathon runner and a powerlifter. Except imagine that powerlifter was naturally built that way, without ever setting foot in a gym. Their thigh bones were so robust that some specimens show evidence of muscle attachment points that suggest quadriceps muscles nearly 3 times the size of modern humans. Unfortunately, for any creature sharing their world, these proportions came with deadly advantages. In the brutal cold of Ice Age Europe, shorter limbs meant better heat conservation, a matter of life and death, when temperatures plummeted to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 40 degrees Celsius. More importantly, they provided a lower center of gravity that made every movement stable and forceful. When your daily routine involves taking down creatures the size of modern elephants using nothing but wooden spears, stability isn't just helpful. It's the difference between victory and becoming lunch. Their bone density was so extreme that some fossils show no signs of the stress fractures common in modern athletes, despite clear evidence of incredibly demanding physical lives. Even more terrifying were hands that could crush bones like twigs. Broader fingertips, shorter digits, and finger bones nearly twice as thick as ours created grip strength that bordered on supernatural. Archaeological analysis suggests they could generate a crushing force equivalent to a mechanical vice, strong enough to snap wooden spear shafts like toothpicks or crush bones with their bare hands. Studies of their finger bones show evidence of muscle attachments that would have given them the ability to maintain crushing grips for extended periods without fatigue, essential when your survival depended on never letting go of your weapon or prey. Yet all this incredible anatomy was just the surface of their superhuman capabilities. The real secret lay hidden in their very DNA. Despite sharing 99.9% of our genetic code, the remaining 0.1% carried the blueprints for what were essentially biological superhumans. That tiny difference was the product of countless generations of adaptation and refinement, fine-tuning the human body for maximum power output. And the numbers were staggering. Key genetic variations, particularly in the LRP5 gene, produced bone density off the charts compared to modern humans. Imagine constructing a building with regular concrete versus reinforced steel. That's the difference we're talking about. This didn't just create a robust skeletal framework. It also supported extraordinary muscle mass in all the right places. Studies show their bones were up to 50% denser than ours, creating an internal architecture capable of withstanding forces that would shatter modern skeletons. Worse still, their very DNA was optimized for destruction. Where modern humans developed efficiency and endurance, Neanderthal genetics optimized for explosive power and raw strength. They possessed a higher percentage of fast-twitch muscle fibers, the kind that generate sudden, devastating bursts of power rather than sustained activity. They were essentially biologically engineered for a world where every moment demanded maximum performance. A living, breathing powerhouse, designed by millions of years of brutal natural selection. Researchers studying Neanderthal remains consistently find evidence of muscle attachment points that dwarf anything seen in contemporary humans. These bone ridges and grooves, where massive muscles once anchored, tell the story of individuals whose baseline strength exceeded that of modern Olympic athletes. Some fossil specimens show muscle attachment sites so pronounced that they suggest biceps and shoulder muscles that were twice the cross-sectional area of modern humans. The MSTN gene, which regulates muscle growth, also showed variations that would have allowed for significantly greater muscle mass without the metabolic penalties that limit modern bodybuilders. Even their collagen production was genetically enhanced, creating tendons and ligaments that were both stronger and more elastic than ours. This gave them the ability to generate explosive movements without the injury risk that would sideline modern athletes attempting similar feats. But how does all this genetic engineering translate into real-world numbers that would make today's strongest humans look like children? Picture a Neanderthal walking into today's most elite powerlifting gym. They wouldn't just be impressive, they'd rewrite the record books without breaking a sweat. Imagine the stunned silence as this barrel-chested figure casually loaded weights that would require spotters and safety equipment for modern athletes. The strongest modern powerlifters can bench press around 700 pounds or 318 kilograms after years of dedicated training, advanced nutrition, and performance-enhancing techniques. Yet a Neanderthal, with muscle mass nearly double that of modern humans in key areas like the chest, arms, and shoulders, could likely exceed 1,000 pounds or 453 kilograms without ever having seen a weight room. Their dense bone structure meant they could handle these extreme loads without the fracture risk that would sideline any contemporary athlete. More impressively, they could probably maintain this strength throughout their entire adult life without the careful periodization and recovery protocols modern powerlifters rely on. And if their raw lifting power wasn't intimidating enough, their grip strength certainly was. Professional arm wrestlers and rock climbers pride themselves on crushing grips that can generate around 200 pounds of force. Neanderthal hand fossils suggest crushing capabilities approaching 400 pounds, enough to pulverize walnuts into powder or leave permanent impressions in solid wood. To put it in perspective, that grip could crack the bones of most Ice Age prey animals simply by squeezing. Modern grip strength devices would likely max out before reaching their true capacity. Most incredibly of all, archaeological evidence shows they treated massive loads like grocery bags. Modern strongmen can deadlift over 1,100 pounds or 500 kilograms under controlled conditions for a single repetition. Archaeological evidence shows Neanderthals regularly transported entire animal carcasses, weighing several hundred pounds across miles of rugged terrain as part of their daily routine. They weren't just lifting weights, they were hauling mammoth steaks home for dinner. Evidence from butchering sites suggests they could carry loads equivalent to 60 to 70% of their body weight over long distances, something that would hospitalize most modern humans.